We're live. Hello. How are we doing? The first day of the second half of the season is here, and it's Fanmail Friday, and we're doing it live. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. This episode of Locked On Yankees is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Just like yesterday, I would normally be saying with me, as usual, is my co-host Brian McKeon, but he was a victim of the nationwide outage. He was having trouble getting home from Texas. The last I heard, he was on a flight out of Houston at 9 a.m. to get back to New Jersey. He lives in New Jersey, so that's why I'm here by myself. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when those videos go live. Coming up, it's Fanmail Friday, and you guys asked a lot of questions, and I'm going to give the people in the chat a chance to ask me questions in segment 3. But first, the questions that were submitted before the show. As usual, as you all know, the insiders go first, and it's tradition. Betty goes first. Here's Betty's question for this week. Since Boone keeps insisting it's all right there in front of us and we need a starter, not to mention bullpen and infield, should we get rid of Rodon? He seems to be a negative distraction for the clubhouse. Mason Miller would be nice, but Tarek Skubal or Tanner Scott wouldn't make me mad. They can't really get rid of Rodon. There's too much money on that contract. And who would want to take him? Like, I don't think anyone would want to take him right now with the way he's pitching, you know. But it's the money. It's the money. I mean, I would like any of those three guys, but it's not realistic. I think the Orioles are linked with Skubal because they have a stacked farm system and they can offer a lot more than the Yankees can at the moment. But I can't see them moving Rodon. But thank you for the question, Betty. Up next, very excited about this. It's a new insider, Lauren. Welcome, Lauren, and thank you for your question. Fan Mail Friday question. If you had to move to another city and pick it only based on the sports culture and offerings, where would you go? Thanks for always being an entertaining start to my day. Well, thank you. And thank you for the question. You're welcome that we're entertaining and that you start your day with us. That's cool. Ooh, this is a tough one. And I can't believe, oh God, I can't believe I'm going to say this. No, I can't say it. I can't say it. I was going to say Boston. I wouldn't root for the Red Sox, though. And I wouldn't root for the Celtics either, now that I'm thinking about it. I mean, I guess because Boston is a smaller city and everything's close by and you can go to everything, maybe I'd want to go. But I don't know, maybe Chicago. Maybe Chicago, because I don't have a dislike for any of their teams except for the Bulls, but that's really from 30 years ago. And I don't really dislike the Bulls as much as I did when Jordan was on the team. So let's say Chicago. I would say Chicago. What about you guys in the chat? What do you guys think? If you were to have to move to a different city, if you're not in New York, or where do you live now? And do you have, because I know some people have I have my second favorite team, or I have my NL team, or whatever. I'm Yankees only. I don't root for any other team. I can't do it. It's just not in my DNA. I think it's genetic because I told my dad about this phenomenon like 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, because he passed away almost 10 years ago. And he couldn't believe it. He was flabbergasted. He said, what do you mean people have 2 or 3 favorite teams? That's not what favorite means. I said, well, that's a whole different discussion. But yeah. So I would say Chicago, just because of the sports culture, the food. I would love to go to Greektown. Hi, Greek. Yeah, that'd be great. And, I don't really have a hatred for any of their teams. But thank you, Lauren, again, for the question. And welcome to Locked On Yankees and the Insiders Club. Next question, another regular insider, Danny Wagner asks, do you think the Yankees drafting all those pitchers is going to lead to trades involving some of our current minor league pitchers being moved. No. I saw something with Damon Oppenheimer, and he said it was kind of an accident that they selected all those pitchers, and it just happened to be the players who were there for the times that they were picking. Like, they didn't go into the draft thinking that out of 20 picks, they were going to pick 13 pitchers. So I don't think so. But you never know. I mean, I don't know how they're working behind the scenes, what their thought process is with all these picks. But it'll be interesting when the deadline rolls around. It's not that far, where it's July 19th as I'm recording this and doing this live. And there's a lot of things they can do. But thank you for that question. Another regular insider, Eric S. How many new players do you think the Yankees will acquire by the deadline? I'm hoping more than one. I'm hoping that there are a few moves that they make. I'm assuming Cashman is going to do, at least one move where the fans are going to question it, and it might turn out okay, where you're thinking, why are they trading for this guy? And then it turns into something. I would like for there to be, because I'm greedy, 3 or 4. I would like for there to be 3 or 4 new players at the trade deadline, but I don't think that's feasible. I think that might be too much. I don't know. But let me know what you think in the chat. I am doing well. I'm happy it's Friday. This is usually my Saturday because I'm usually done with my work week on Thursday night. So it's kind of strange that I'm doing something on a Friday, and it's kind of messing me up a little bit. But here we are. The eye is 100% healed. I'm done with the antibiotics. I'm done with the eye drops. Everything is fine. Thank goodness. Nothing major happened with the eye. Something major could have happened with the eye if I didn't go to the ER, apparently, from what the doctor and nurses were telling me, which is really scary. Who knew? Who knew you could get an infection in your eye that could spread to your brain? I mean, I guess that's the natural course because it would just go right. But so it's a good thing I went to the doctor, and yeah, my eye's good. Thank goodness. And one more insider question before we go to segment 2 from David F., another regular insider. Stace and Brian, do you see a scenario where Dominguez could come up and contribute this season? I hope so. I feel like it's my fault, and I'll say this because I said before he got injured that this might be the worst case scenario for the Yankees because the guys up top were not injured. Stanton was healthy at that point. Judge was okay at that point, and that Dominguez was kind of stuck in the minors, Then Dominguez gets hurt, and it's like, oh, that's a bummer. All right, maybe he'll be. And then Stanton gets hurt, and you're thinking Dominguez could have come up for Stanton, and they could have figured out the outfield thing, and he could have come up and contributed because he was doing really well in the minors. And it's I'll blame myself. I said that. I'm the one that put it out there, and my bad. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you for this, Jared, because I only say it certain parts of the show, but hit the like button and subscribe because we're close to 6,700. We're at 6680 something, and I would like to get to 67 by Monday. That would be cool. 6,700 is a cool number of subscribers, and it's 6,700 more than I ever thought possible. So, all right, coming up next, more Fanmail Friday questions. You guys asked a lot. Thank you so much. We're going to do YouTube questions in segment 2, and then segment 3, you can ask me whatever you want in the chat if you're there. Well, not anything. We'll not anything, but baseball related questions. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. If you would like to be part of the next Fan Mail Friday, which probably won't be live, reply to the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. You get your questions answered in segment 1. The link is in the description. It's not only for Fan Mail Friday. You get text from us. We'll text out if the lineup's changed, we'll send out roster moves. You can text us questions and reactions to the games. It's fun. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up next, more Fanmail Friday. This episode of Locked On Yankees is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. It's summer. We all know that. We're all hot and sweaty. And summer means baseball, but it also means traveling. So why not mix the two? Don't you think it's time you explored some of those cities across the country that you secretly wanted to learn about? We're talking about the Yankees' rival cities. If you're planning a trip to Fenway to see the Yankees take on the Red Sox, Booking.com makes it a breeze. And it's not just about hotels. You can choose from a number of accommodations like bed and breakfast right outside of Boston, vacation rentals. You can go to Cape Cod and drive into Boston. There's so many things that you can do, all with the convenience of Booking.com. On Booking.com, you can find the perfect stay even in your baseball rival city. And for Yankee fans, that means more than just Boston. It means Baltimore, Tampa, and you know what? These days, it means Houston as well. You can book hotels that overlook stadiums or book family-friendly resorts. Booking.com has so many choices across the country for your summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com, on the site, or in the Booking.com app. And Locked On Yankees is also brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. And right now, the WNBA, it's the hottest ticket in town, with stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese setting records seemingly every day or having streaks seemingly every day. And then they're playing alongside greats like Breanna Stewart. And you can win 100 times your cash watching those girls ball out. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match of up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. It's not easy trying to change everything live while I'm trying to control everything. I will edit that out of the audio version. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Make sure you watch See, there we go. I screwed up. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Make sure you watch Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest sports stories of the day. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And you can catch the Hometown Yankees broadcast on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. Woo! Okay, it's Friday. It's Friday. Friday's not Monday, but there we go. All right, moving on to YouTube questions. Let me just see if you guys have any comments in the yeah, we're live. We're live. I screwed up. I didn't curse. Good job. All right. Moving on to YouTube questions. First one from Rivka Meiselman, 3375. After the first half of the season, what do you think our chances of signing Soto are? Probably the same as they were before the season. I think if maybe they were doing better and they were running away with the division, he'd be like, hey, I think I want to stay here. He's going to explore free agency. It's okay. Like, it's going to be scary, obviously, but if the Yankees do really well and they're able to offer him money and they get some other money off the books, I wouldn't be surprised if he returned. I mean, I would love for him to return. I said that on yesterday's show, and I say it all the time. I just really do. I love his relationship with Judge. I think he's great. He's fun to watch. He's still really young. I mean, he really honestly hasn't hit his prime yet, which is frightening to think about. But thank you for the question, as usual. Next up, Rolo M. the Second 76. Good shows with the All-Star break. With this now, the second half underway, do you two think of or did you do something superstitious, superstition-wise to change any juju vibes as a fan? Well, no. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I know that there were times last season when I'd wear the same hat if they were winning, or I'd wear the same glasses. I haven't worn my flower glasses in a really long time. And I don't know why. I don't think that's a superstitious thing. I think it's just, I don't know. I feel more comfortable with these glasses on. By the way, getting new prescription and getting new glasses, very exciting. And they're going to be, I have to wear glasses all the time. So I buy like 5 or 6 pairs, all from cheap eyeglasses places on the internet. I don't spend a lot of money on the frames, which is great. I'm glad that they have those places, but yeah, you're going to see a whole variety of frames. Let's see. I'm just looking at questions on checking to see if you're leaving questions in the chat, because I will be answering questions in segment 3 from the chat. So make sure you ask me them. Next, Marcel 6972. If Blue Jays were willing to accept Chase Hampton and Spencer Jones in exchange for Vlad Guerrero Jr., should Brian Cashman make that trade? Aside from his questionable past comments on potentially playing for the Yankees, he would solve the Yankees cleanup void. He could go back to playing third base as he started out in his career. LeMahieu or Cabrera could come in to replace him late in the game if the Yankees have a slim 1 to 3 run lead. No. No, I don't know. I think we spoke about this. I don't know if it was last week or a couple weeks ago. I don't think the Blue Jays would trade any of those guys. I think they might start over in a sense to keep rebuilding around Vlad Jr. And Bo Bichette, because I don't think they want to give up on that yet. They've made some questionable moves. Not questionable, no. They've made some moves that haven't panned out. The Yankees know all about that. Hello, Carlos Rodon, and just the team mixed together is just not having a good season. I mean, they could turn things around in the second half and go on a run, because I don't think they're as bad as they're playing, the Blue Jays. So I can't envision a trade like that. I mean, would I say no? No. I mean, if the Blue Jays were like, hey, you guys want Vlad Jr.? Yeah. But I don't think they would do that. But thank you for the question, Marcel. We appreciate it. Let's see. Next. Morris 83. This is a long one. First, I want to say Locked On Yankees is one of the more positive Yankee fan sites, and that is one big reason why it is my favorite. Some others are horribly negative. I try not to be negative. I really do. There are some times where I kind of lose it. I lost it last week, but was it last week or earlier this week? I lost it completely, but I try to be positive. Question: are Yankee fans in the age of social media toxic to this team? At some point this season, I've heard Yankee fans say they are through with pretty much every player on the roster, even Judge early this season. I think only Cole and Soto have escaped this hypercriticism. Baseball is a game. It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to make you angry. Well, it's not supposed to make you sick. Again, baseball can still be fun even when your team is not playing well. Growing up watching the Yankees in the 80s was fun. It was. Yes, the New York Yankees have a high standard, but the level of anger at this team is obscene. We are one game out of first place in the toughest division in baseball. It is my opinion that finding someone to eviscerate after every loss only makes our players more uptight and more mistake prone. Interesting. Yeah, as I've gotten older, I also think it's an age thing, because when I was younger, my moods were affected by how the Yankees did. My coworkers knew to stay away from me when certain things happened. Like when they lost in 2004 to the Red Sox, no one spoke to me until I went to my supervisor and said, why isn't anyone talking to me? And she's like, well, we were afraid to. I was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Like, did I call out? No, I came in this morning. But that's how I was in my 20s and early 30s. Like my moods depended on how the Yankees were doing. And that's no way to live, but that's how people are. And I'll admit it, if social media as it is now was around then, because back then in '03, you had like message boards and stuff like that, but you didn't really have social media. If that were different 20 years ago, I would have been one of those really negative people on social media. I'll tell you right now. But I've mellowed in my old age. So I think yes and no, because there's more access to the players. They have Instagrams, they have Twitters, and you can literally tell them exactly how you're feeling. And that's not always the greatest thing. And you know they see it. And fans have always been toxic towards players. They just have an easier way to do it now. Instead of just booing them at the stadium, they can tell them on their social media accounts how much they hate them, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know if it affects the players and their play as much as booing does. You know, I think everything is the same, if that makes sense. But thank you for the question, Morris. And yeah, watching the Yankees in the 80s, even though they didn't win, we didn't really know any better because we were young. And, you know, if you went to a Yankee game and they won, you didn't care how they did the rest of the season. The only time it really bothered me was 1986 when the Mets won, because that's all anyone talked about. Yeah. Okay, we're going to have to move some of these questions to segment 3. So we're going to do that. And hopefully I can remember who I'm moving to segment 3. Oh, so okay, yeah. We'll answer more questions in segment 3. And I will answer some of your questions in the chat. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, you can get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and you can talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free TradeMaster program. Every TradeMaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM, that stands for TradeMaster. You can order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. And Locked On Yankees is also brought to you by FanDuel. Now, I love sports. I love them so much that I don't want them to stop. And with all the other playoffs winding, like they're done. Everything else is done. So it's just baseball, football training camp is starting, but we have fewer games to watch. And FanDuel lets me keep those sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Now, when I was on FanDuel earlier, I noticed a parlay that stuck out to me for tonight's Yankees-Rays game. So that would be Friday if you're watching this on Friday. You can bet on Judge to hit a home run, Soto to record at least 2 bases, Cole to strike out at least 5 batters, and Randy Arozarena to record at least 2 total bases. And it's listed as a plus 1-2-3-4, which means if you bet $10, you can win $123. Pretty cool. So head over to fanduel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Honestly, that parlay was, I was actually Supply House. I was actually surprised that Zach Eflin wasn't in that parlay with the way he's been pitching against the Yankees, but that's just the way it goes. All right, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV Channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV Channels app. Looks like my internet is screwing up right now. Of course, because we're live. Why wouldn't it do that? Okay, so Morris, you were the last question we did, right? So here we go. A newcomer, because I don't recognize this name, Maggie Deck on YouTube. Could Rice play another position if they facilitate a trade for Yandy Diaz? I know that there are some Rays players that are linked to the Yankees, but I also know that the Kevin Cash came out and said, although he's the manager, but he came out and said, we're not giving up on the season. And I wouldn't, if I were the Rays, I wouldn't give up on the season either, because they could also go on some sort of roll in the second half, you know? I mean, it would be something. You know, there are a couple of guys that Yankee fans want from the Rays. I hadn't heard Yandy Diaz, though. Paredes, yes, but not Diaz. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Mr. Mallory, 94. Could the Yankees get Mason Miller without giving up Dominguez? I think so. I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, wait a minute. Unless, see, I'm so bad with coming up with trade proposals and stuff. Like, I've never been good at this. So I think they could. They would just have to really like load the package, right? I would think they could do it without Dominguez, but they might have to give up someone like Spencer Jones. And I know people don't want to give him up. I don't really want to give him up either. My co-host does. He doesn't care. But I kind of don't, because I think he might be able to contribute to the Yankees, but that's the risk with top prospects. You never know how they're going to go. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think they're going to give up Dominguez. I think Dominguez is in the plans for the future because he's been there. He's done things. They've seen how he's played in the majors. And if he can just stay healthy, plus he's really, really young. So I don't think they would get rid of him. But thank you for the question. And finally, our last question from Guardian Neffy. I don't know if I said that right. Stacey and Brian, how do you feel about the Yankees working a deal with the Angels to get both Luis Rengifo, that's how you say it, and Carlos Estevez? Both of them fill a need the Yankees have and wouldn't cost as much as prospect capital, or wouldn't cost as much prospect capital as Mason Miller. And yeah, I didn't want to correct Brian when he said it wrong, but I knew that's not how you pronounce that. It happens. I mean, I've been saying Rodon wrong for 2 seasons, so I think we had mentioned both. Do we mention both those players or just Rengifo? I'm trying to remember because that was like a few weeks ago. I mean, it would be interesting to see if they could pull that off. I mean, there are players available. They're just not going to be major players that the Yankees are getting, unless some sort of miracle happens. But that could be interesting if they could try and do that, because the Yankees do have needs. As well as they're doing, if you look at them as a whole, not thinking about how bad they were in June and into July, and if you just look at the record, you look at where they are in the standings, they're doing well. It's just they've been playing so bad lately, it kind of takes the shine off that pretty picture of 58 and 40? 58 and 40? What is I can't remember the record, but they do have needs. They have a few of them. So we'll see what happens. Then, we have 2 weeks trade deadline, which is crazy, but yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens over these next 2 weeks. All right, quickly, we have some, or maybe we can have some questions. Oh. I read this as, what are the 2 positions Brian absolutely has to address at the deadline, and thought you meant my co-host at first. Razzle the Great. Because that's where my brain is. It's Friday. Okay. What are the 2 positions Cashman absolutely has to address at the deadline? Bullpen. I said this yesterday. They need someone who could throw strikes in the bullpen. They can't keep depending on guys who, sometimes strike people out, but usually induce ground balls because we saw what happened in that last game against Baltimore. And we've seen a couple of things happen. Glaber's made some mistakes, the Volpe mistake. Even Rizzo had a gaffe when he was still playing. So, yeah, they need someone who can strike guys out in the ninth inning. They really do. They can keep the rest of the guys they have in the bullpen, just shuffle them around a bit. I see some Cole predictions in the chat. Oh, Shalid is going to the game tonight. I'm going to the game tonight. Please pray they win. I hate spending money to watch them lose. Yeah, it's not fun spending money and watching them lose, obviously. It was never fun as a season ticket holder going to a game that they lost. Was that 2000? Yeah, September of 2000, they lost a game to the Indians like 15-4. And by the eighth inning, we were just all very chippy in the stands. I had gotten sunburn. I was just like really annoyed that I sat through that game. And someone came in from the bullpen and finally struck someone out. And it was like a derisive cheer because you never want to. You never want to sit through that. Razzle the Great. If Gleyber isn't moved, does that take Jazz out of the equation? Oh, Jazz Chisholm. Who's going to take Gleyber Torres? Honestly, I said this yesterday. Who's going to take him? He's awful right now. And as I said yesterday, unless they think of him as a reclamation project that maybe they could fix, I don't see anyone taking him. The only thing that would be, I don't know, the only way that people would want to take him or maybe think about taking him is because they don't have to pay him a lot of money, right? It's not like you're trading a guy with like $100 million left on his contract, Carlos Rodon, But no one's going to take him. So I don't think the Jazz Chisholm thing is going to happen. I know that his name's being bandied about, but I don't see that happening. There are a lot of names being bandied about. And as I said, the Yankees aren't the only team looking to upgrade. The AL is completely open right now, and especially the AL East, because no one expected Boston to be doing as well as they are. So annoying. And, they could maybe do something at the deadline to upgrade, right? So, the Yankees just have to be smart with their moves, and we'll see what happens. This is true. They thought that Gallo was impossible to move, but I don't know. I can't see it right now. But yeah, I mean, that's a point because no one thought that anyone would be able to take him. And poor Gallo, man, it wasn't just the Yankees. It wasn't just being on the Yankees. It was just, I don't know. The bottom fell out for Joey Gallo. And that stinks because he seemed like a good guy. And, you never want to see someone's career fall off like that. And yeah. Are there any more questions before I end this live stream? Thank you for hanging out with me, by the way. I apologize for the fact that we had to do this. It's just, at first we thought Brian was going to be home by now. But then, the great disaster, I think Y2K happened nearly 25 years late. So I think that's what happened. It finally happened. Here's a good question. Debbie is here. Hi, Debbie. Debbie's an insider. Maybe the previous Gleyber will show up now. That would be nice. He was working I saw on Instagram, he posted stories. He was working out in the cages. So he wasn't just resting over the All-Star break. He was working out and doing things. And, he's trying. A lot of it's mental too. So maybe he could figure something out this week in the batting cages and do something. I just saw something from Jared. Let's give it up for Jared. Jared is in nearly every single chat, no matter how late I post the episode. Sometimes I don't get them up till 2 a.m, and Jared is there. Will the Yankees pick it up again? Yes, they will. I'm saying it right now. They're not going to play as bad as they've been. So that's my prediction. There's my bold prediction. My first bold prediction was Carlos Rodon was going to win 17 games. And when he got to 9, I thought, oh, that's easy. And now he's at like 9-8. So he needs to pick it up. He needs to pick it up. So once again, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the insiders. I appreciate the YouTube crowd. Again, you guys are great. Whenever I post the episodes, you're there hanging out no matter how late it is. And I just like our group of everydayers who hang out and watch the show. And you help me. You make me want to do the show, you know, because when I first started, it was hard because I had like 18 people listening to me. And, you know, over the last 6 years, my anniversary is coming up June 28th, June 26th, something like that, somewhere in there. I've been doing this for 6 years now, and we've built a good group of fans who appreciate the work that we do, and we appreciate you right back. I would like this. Jared Williams predicts 6-1 Yankees tonight. I mean, Eflin has a .69 ERA against them in 2 starts. It could happen. You never know. Maybe he's due for a correction. All right, one more time before we end the week, because it's Friday. Don't forget, join our Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description and a 14-day free trial. You get texts from us. There weren't that many texts this week because it was kind of quiet. And you can text us questions for Fanmail Friday. You can text us reactions to the games. You can text us, you know, anything you want. And if you don't want to join the Insiders Club, you can leave your questions under the pinned comment on our videos on YouTube Monday through Thursday. And remember, you can catch the Hometown Yankees broadcast on SiriusXM by downloading the SXM app and searching the word Yankees. Coming up next week, recapping the series against the Rays, previewing the second half of the Subway Series, and lots more. So that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on Monday.